Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, Jesse the Commentator, bringing you pop culture and all things dirty through a common sense lens. And while we knew it was going to eventually happen, right? Obviously, cable television, linear broadcasting is going to end up going the way of the dodo. And while we kind of know that like a lot of the online streaming services and things like that are taking priority on top of the list, well, the biggest probably online quote-unquote streaming platform you can possibly imagine, of course, is none other than YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. There's no one that even comes close to holding a candle. There's a lot of competitors out there trying to break their way into the whole argument out there, and of course we love some of our fellows out there, but as well it's one of them things is you simply can't deny YouTube is the top dog out there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has officially happened. YouTube is not only the top dog when it comes to video sharing platforms, it is now the top dog of all TV viewing in the United States, ladies and gentlemen, and that is an absolutely huge win for independent new media common sense folks out there, because that means, ladies and gentlemen, you are watching far more of your own independent commentators and new media out there than anybody is watching all of the kind of things out there on the broadcast television, whether it be ABC, whether it be NBC, whether it be Hulu or Disney Plus. YouTube now trounces all of it, ladies and gentlemen, and that is a beautiful thing to hear, because it has been a long time coming, and it's one of them situations as more of the generations get out of the habit of having broadcast television, of having cable, as more of those generations start to pass on and move on from this mortal coil. It's one of those things is that stuff was just going to simply go down and down. I really don't know anybody of my generation personally that still has like traditional cable television. Almost everybody just streams everything, and they've all got smart TVs or little Roku devices or something like that. I watch more YouTube on my television and Rumble than I do anything else out there, boys and girls. It's not even close, and I think that's the same for the majority of people out there, with the exception of my wife. She watches more Pluto than anything else. But at the end of the day, this was bound to happen eventually, and I think it's probably coming a lot sooner than what especially the Walt Disney Company expected, and it's more bad news for them as they continue to lose the culture war and continue to lose the audience that they once had. So we're going to check out this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all of the juicy details and show you exactly how bad the numbers are for the Walt Disney Company. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding, we are growing. We just crossed 1,600. We're on our way to 17, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let me know what you think about this. Does it surprise you it took this long to get there, or did you think that the cable and all the linear television was going to hold out much longer than what it officially has? Because these are the Nielsen ratings, boys and girls, and the Nielsen ratings, if you have Disney Plus, you are automatically toggled into being involved in those. They automatically send your information to Nielsen, so literally they have a direct access to all of that kind of stuff. So does it surprise you that it took this long, or does it surprise you that it happened this soon? Let us know what you think about all that in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check the links in the description as well. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Montanero. YouTube surpasses Disney in TV viewing in massive win for new media. Legacy media left reeling as entertainment landscape shifts, because yes, they are losing all of their power, because guess what? The audience and the fans know the emperor has no clothes, and we can't trust anything that comes out of their mouths, boys and girls, especially when they have their inside sources on things. Now, can we? Because we know that they are shills, they are access media, and they will go out there and tout whatever the studio's talking points is that they want them to do, because they have to maintain that inside access. Now, don't they? Which is why people trust the new media and all the independent guys out there versus all of the traditional legacy media. In a stunning turn that should have traditional media execs hitting the panic button, YouTube has officially claimed the top spot in total TV viewing, right? This isn't on your smartphone, this isn't on your computer, this is TV viewing. Share surpassing even the once mighty Disney. According to Nielsen's latest distributor gauge report, YouTube racked up a record 11.6% of all U.S. TV viewership in February, marking just the second time the platform has done so since the report's inception. And as you can see right there, 11.6, Disney only 10%, Fox 8.3, Netflix, Paramount, so on and so forth, NBC Universal. And like I said, this gauges all of their linear broadcasting channels, all of their network channels. That's why like the Walt Disney one has always been kind of playing some kind of shading things with these numbers, because this includes all of their Hulu, their ESPN, their ABC, everything, boys and girls. It's just YouTube, one platform and one source, whereas the Walt Disney Company maintains dominance on the charts because they have everything that they own covered, right? That's the insane part about that. That 11.6 figure had been noted in previous breakdowns, but this latest data directly ranks distributors, and YouTube came out ahead ahead of every other entertainment conglomerate. In second place, none other than the Walt Disney Company, which saw a notable drop from its January numbers after losing viewership boost from the NFL playoffs and college football playoff games. Like I said, they include ESPN in these numbers. And the hits keep coming to Disney. Fox Corporation, not to be confused with the Disney-owned 20th Century Fox, bolstered by Super Bowl viewership, had a surge on its free streaming platform Tubi, jumping to third place, edging out Netflix. Shout out to Tubi. Fox News Channel alone drove 37% of the company's total viewing share, and 3% increase in February, coinciding with the heightened political coverage and Trump-related developments. Obviously, that makes sense. It was an election year. Obviously, the news stations are always going to get big bumps in the numbers for that. This moment is more than just a leaderboard shuffle. It's an inflection point for new media. YouTube's rise has been relentless, climbing 53% in just 2 years, from 7.9% to 11.6%. Unlike Disney and other entertainment juggernauts that depend on massive tentpole events and franchise content, YouTube thrives on creator-driven programming that is decentralized, diverse, and constant. Its long-term strategy of empowering individuals rather than producing traditional TV has proven not only a viable, but dominant. And we saw YouTube try to go into like the more traditional television route, right, where they were making like the stuff with like Matt Pat from Game Theory and all that other kind of stuff. They were making all the different television shows and all that kind of stuff. And guess what? They cut it because it costs so much money to do that stuff and produce it that your return on investment has to be really high. And guess what? Your little, just like that's why you have all these ad tiers now and all these streaming services. YouTube found out that the subscriptions for YouTube television and the ad revenue on those videos was not going to be enough to cover the massive production costs of producing a show like that. So they gave up on it. They quit. The YouTube Originals is over. So what's even more striking is that YouTube's growth isn't just coming from Gen Z or millennials. Nielsen reports that living room viewing now exceeds that on mobile TV devices and computers. Literally, more people watch it on their television now than they do on their smartphone and on their computer. And I know I can attest to that. I've been that way for a very long time. Ever since I could get YouTube on my TV via the Roku box, I was watching it on my television because why would I want to watch something on this itty-bitty little screen when I can watch it on my big old screen? It just simply doesn't make any sense. And now that the YouTube, the apps have gotten better and the interaction, be able to browse your stuff and find your videos and all that kind of stuff is a lot easier. Of course, more people are going to use it, and probably more people are discovering that the YouTube actually has an app for their television. Nielsen reports that living viewing numbers now exceed that on mobile devices and computers, and that older demographics are a driving force. Viewership among adults age 65 plus has nearly doubled over the past 2 years, now almost equaling that of kids ages 2 to 12. That is insane. We're officially getting the boomers, boys and girls. Even the boomers are abandoning the legacy media and coming to YouTube for more honest stuff out there. And that is a beautiful thing to see. We're not only winning the cultural war with the younger generations, but also the older ones as well. And that, like I said, that's just a beautiful thing to see the legacy media lose its high horse, lose its top spot on the totem pole on top of the pile of ash that is the legacy media out there is just a beautiful thing to see. This trend should worry Disney, which has staked so much of its future on flagship franchises and high-cost streaming productions that require huge capital investments. In contrast, YouTube's low overhead model and global reach allow it to adapt rapidly to audience behavior and avoid many of the pitfalls of Hollywood's bloated content machine. Obviously, it's drastically different with Hollywood out there, right? Things take years, sometimes a decade to get in production, and after that point, an idea that might have seemed like a great idea 5 or 10 years ago, you leave that out there to the general public now, and it absolutely just tanks. Snow White, anybody? So, seriously, it just makes sense. And also, YouTube doesn't have to worry about creating their own content. We create the content for them. They just house it and distribute it for us. It's absolutely just a no-duh-brainer why YouTube would be more successful. If this trend continues, and there's every reason to believe it will, we've been saying this was coming for a very long time, traditional media companies may need to rethink everything from distribution models to content development and strategies. The decentralization of content creation is no longer coming, it is here. YouTube is now the biggest name on the TV screen, and that is glorious, ladies and gentlemen. That is just absolutely glorious. It might not seem like such a big deal to a lot of people out there, but if you understand the scope and the change that means and where people get their information and where people are getting their media and their entertainment and all their news and everything else, that shows you how much of a shift away from the legacy content distributors have been. We've been saying it for a long time that the legacy media is DOA. They are over. We've seen this happen. We've seen the massive amount of layoffs over the last few years, over and over and over again, we've seen the collapse of a lot of like BuzzFeed and a lot of these other little sites, Vice and all these other little sites that just went completely and totally insane, that they just completely embedded themselves with the spirit of the age, and people got tired of being lied to. They got tired of getting told that, well, down is up and up is down and 2 + 2 = 5, even though that's never been the way things are and that's not actually the way things are, but you have to believe all of our lies and talking points because that's the way the world's going now. Step in line, step in line. You don't want to be an other, do you? And guess what? It didn't work, because as we found out back in November of last year, the majority of the United States does not agree with this ideology, that agree with this modern audience garbage out there, because not only do we see the disastrous dumpster fires of the box offices of the Walt Disney Company and every other acolyte of the cult spirit of the age movie out there just losing hundreds of billions of dollars overall with Hollywood, we also saw a major political shift back there in November as well, and things going back to a way that a lot of people actually enjoy. Something a little bit more traditional, maybe something not so insane, maybe not so much forced diversity, inclusion, and equity nonsense, and maybe just getting back to good storytelling and doing a good job. And the fact that Disney has now lost its crown at top dog with ABC, ESPN, and Disney Plus, Hulu, and everything else they own out there and control, they have now lost to YouTube, which at the end of the day, that means they have now lost to you, because you, the audience, you, the fans out there, have chosen where you want to get your information from, where you want to get your entertainment from, and where you want to get your news from. And at the end of the day, that is a beautiful thing, because decentralization is the key to a successful future, and Disney losing their top spot to YouTube of all places is a beautiful and happy thing to see for the future. So boys and girls, take some happiness in the fact that you have now destroyed the Walt Disney Company, and they are no longer top dog in television. And boys and girls, they did it to themselves, and it's exactly what they deserve.